Hello, Mikhail Ocean here. Welcome. I wanted to talk to you today about desire. Now, desire is an interesting subject because lots of people have talked about it through the years. The most notable being Napoleon Hill in his book Think and Grow Rich, and I recently just attended a live stream with the Paradigm Shift with Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher, and I want to share some ideas I felt as a result of going through that event and just experiences that I've had in my life as I have personally looked at and further developed desire in my own experience. And I want to share that with you. Because I think this is one of the things that's very often overlooked in planning and goal setting and things that you just basically want to see happen in your life. So with no further delay, let's jump right in. So desire, in let's say my opinion and in my experience, is really an experience, an energy that you are bringing from within yourself to manifest or do or create something. Okay, it's a result that you actually want, and by defining that particular result, okay, you actually can guide that energy or that feeling. Okay, so you can achieve what it is that you're setting out to achieve. So look at it this way. Napoleon Hill talked about it in different ways. He tells different stories in the book Think and Grow Rich, and it's amazing the stories that he talks about, because as you read them again and again, at least it did for me, is you realize the treasure chest that you're sitting on within yourself, that you don't connect to in the most powerful possible way for yourself. So I'm going to share a little bit about that in terms of my understanding, because maybe it's helpful. Because I know I've read and reread the book Think and Grow Rich many times. I think this last time that I read it, I think I actually feel like I got it in a way that never before, and I know it's because the reason we experience things like that is because you're the one that's changing, and the material is basically timeless, and you're changing, and as you change, your understanding of what you're reading expands and evolves as you do. So it has greater and greater meaning, particularly as you take action. So in the first story in Think and Grow Rich, in the chapter on desires, chapter 2, in that first one, you basically, he talks about Edward Barnes. And one of the things that he mentions in there is Barnes' desire to work with Edison was no normal kind of desire. It was an intensity. It was an intensity that this was, he had a single purpose. It was definite. In other words, he did not go to visit Edison and get his first job sweeping the floors or something like that. He didn't do that as a wish or a hope or anything like that. It was intentional. He did this because he intended to be a partner of Thomas Edison. And that's an amazing thing. If you think about that, if you were to apply that in your life, that level of intensity, that level of intention and definiteness in anything that you wanted, you would be able to achieve results of your own making. Absolutely, the universe responds to that kind of clarity and that kind of definiteness. So that's an example of that, of something you can do yourself. The stories aren't to be a historical rendering or something where you're not able to equal that in your own life. Actually, it's meant as an example. Okay, as an example of something you can yourself do. And then there's another fascinating story in this particular chapter on desire that I'd like to expand on again, and it's the part about his son. Okay, and his son was born without any ears. And if you haven't read this part of the book, you should even just go in a bookstore and pick up the book and look for chapter 2. And because his son was born, and according to the medical profession, he didn't even have the equipment. That's the way it's talked about in the book. He didn't even have the mechanisms in the ear, okay, to facilitate hearing. He didn't have the ears itself, but he also didn't have the inner workings of the ears. Now, I don't know how much of that, but that's what he says in the book. So I'm not a doctor or anything like that, so I can't tell you what or wasn't there. But they basically said he didn't have anything in there. And it was amazing because he conveyed to his son, okay, he conveyed to him three things through the course of this young person's life in order to enable him to turn that adversity into an asset. This is fascinating, okay? First thing is that he wanted his son to be able to hear, okay? And he wasn't going to accept, even if he didn't have the ears or the mechanisms, the inner workings to hear. He didn't want his son to accept that was going to be a limitation for him in his life. So he planted the seeds of this desire to hear and to live life normally, no matter what, in his son's mind, through love and intention and desire, and basically telling him that this was going to turn into an asset someday for him. Now that is fascinating, because if you think about it, having that type of handicap, having that type of adversity, okay, would make most people just quit. Okay, I don't have ears, I couldn't possibly do that. And I just find it fascinating that he was able to convey that with such definiteness to his son, and he had to dig deep inside himself in order to be able to convey with a level of conviction that most of us would have a difficult time bringing forth and drawing up. But the love for his child, the love for his son, probably enabled him to really be able to put all his effort and desire and transfer his desire into his son's mind. Okay, and then his son through fate and through principles of the universe, law of attraction, whatever means or methods that you currently have understanding about. What happened is circumstances developed in that young person's life that actually did turn his adversity into an asset. He actually ended up being invited by a company that developed a hearing aid of some form or another, and became the spokesperson for that company, and began to help people all over the world. Okay, make this adversity, make the handicap of being mute and not being able to hear, okay, and make it possible for many of those people to hear. And it's amazing. And let me read you a quote in here in the book, is right near the end, because this describes the power of desire and how important that is to people. Oh, sorry about that. But I'm a little new at this video stuff, so it's trying to get moving around here. But here's the quote here. Okay, strange and imponderable is the power of the human mind. We do not understand the method by which it uses every circumstance, every individual, every physical thing within its reach as a means of transmuting desire into its physical counterpart. Perhaps science will uncover this secret. That's amazing, okay? It's truly amazing to really think about what is possible. It talks about, uses every circumstance, uses every individual. In the story about the Napoleon Hill son and the no ears, it was like, as that as that young person went through life, okay, circumstances due to this intense desire, okay, to be hear and speak normally, okay, like everyone else, okay, that desire, okay, that started first in his dad's mind and was conveyed to him through love and stories and creativity and ways that to make that happen, okay, the boy ended up, okay, owning that himself, and through that ownership he carried it forth. He carried it forth into the world, bringing hearing and the ability to hear to people who might not otherwise have been able to accomplish that or do that. So pretty amazing stuff here when you start looking at a desire. Now think about this. Think about if that can happen to Napoleon Hill's son without ears, he could learn to speak and hear, and he could do that and then become successful in every particular conceivable way, equal to any man. Okay, what could you do? What could you do if you could equal that desire in your own life? What would that look like? What would you, okay, bring forth from yourself? What circumstances could you and the universe create in your life as a result of being focused like that, okay? Never giving up, having unbelievable faith in yourself and in the universe, and just in the fact that that desire, okay, will bring forth, okay, a providence in the world, okay? You'll meet people, circumstances will evolve and come your direction, and you will go their direction. It's equal, okay? You are going to be guided or moved or inspired or through other creative faculties to move in a particular direction, and then that direction will come a little closer, and then the manifestation will happen. If this type of thing interests you, okay, if you really want to produce a result in your life of something that you never thought would be obtainable by yourself, that this would be just such a powerful thing, you may have an interest in connecting with me further, okay? I do personal coaching, but we've got a very special program, okay? So I'll just leave that at that plant. If you'd like to know more, if you'd like to connect with me, if you heard, this is a beginning of live video for me. So if you'd like to know more or get acquainted with me or see me more often, you can certainly check in with me. Go to my website. It's resultsvelocity.com. That's resultsvelocity.com. And you can get in there, and I'm giving away a free coaching package there, or a free coaching session, I should say, that teaches an incredible 5 steps to discover alignment, if you will, to say it simply. But do join me again. I'll look forward to coming back here and speaking to you further on another subject. I'm probably going to be focusing a little bit on Think and Grow Rich and other things that I talk to people about. And I hope to see you back here again. Thank you so much for coming. And remember, Results Velocity. There'll be a link down below, or some kind of a link to my website. Click that on, and also remember, like this, share it with some friends. I'd appreciate that very much. Take care. Thank you.